issued a tornado warning for southwestern Harlan County, east central Bell County, until 5:30 p.m. At 5:03 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Cary, or near Pineville, moving east at 30 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Miracle around 5:10 p.m. Callaway around 5:15 p.m. Blackmud around 5:20 p.m. Other locations in the path of this tornadic thunderstorm include Pat Fork. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 5:30 p.m. for the following counties in Kentucky, Bell and Harlan.
Moving at 30 or east at 30 miles per hour.
Okay, so here we're looking inside the storm at the wind velocity inside of it. What you're looking at here, this is wind moving toward the radar at Morristown, Tennessee. This is wind moving away from the radar at Morristown, Tennessee, and that is right on top of downtown Pineville, the county seat of Bell County here at this hour. And I'm going to let you back that up just real quick to kind of give us an idea of where this is going. How fast is this moving, Brandon?
So basically this is moving east at 30 miles per hour. Let me see if I can try to put a track on here right fast, and we'll go from there. But you can tell based on the polygon where this is heading. So let me see if I can, it's been a while since I've done this, so give me just a second.
And while you're putting that track on it, for places like Oaks, you are in this polygon, TJ. It's just south of Laurel Ford. Now, north of where this circulation is, this is just crossing now 25E. Brandon is putting the track on this over the next little bit. Miracle by 521, TJ 525, into Tuggleville by 535. The Alva community as we cross into Harlan County by 548, Twyla 553. And as we cross the 6 o'clock hour, if it holds together, Stanfield by 601 and Martins Fork by 605. And I'm going to kind of go in and diagnose this just a little bit more here over the next little bit. I want you to notice what we're looking at. It's a little supercell thunderstorm that's kind of caught up on a boundary and has started rotating in the northern part of Bell County. If you're watching us from Middlesboro, you are not in this warning. Pruden, out of it. Trosper, it's to your east. But we still do have some strong thunderstorms off to the north. So there again is that storm right on top of downtown Pineville. I'm going to switch to the velocity real quick, and we will show that here just real quick as we pan that over to the east for me, if you would, Brandon.
Yes, I know you're having a little trouble with Magic Track. Give me just a second. There we go.
Okay, so here's our storm just to the south and east of downtown Pineville. Right there, I will zoom in on it and we'll show you it is now just east of downtown Pineville. So this is just outside of the city, pushing to the east at about 35 miles per hour. So Straight Creek, Wazioto, it's just to your east, north of Harbell, heading towards Varilla. So over the next little bit, as we head towards the Varilla community, that is the next in line for this circulation as this pushes east across northern parts of Bell County and into the western portions of Harlan County. Here's US 119. Here's Ponza. If you're in Ponza, this is likely going to stay to your north, but in any case, you want to stay in your shelter because this will have the possibility of producing a tornado, and that possibility, I'll kind of circle it for you, is right to the north and east of Harbell at this hour. It's where the greens and the reds come together, and it is in this spot just south of Straight Creek. We'll be crossing US 119 within the next little bit. Brandon, do you have anything new?
No, nothing so far over here. But again, this is something you want to take cover for. You want to be in your tornado safe spots. That is downstairs under something sturdy. You want to be put as much between you and the outside as possible, especially in those areas that Evan is highlighting there. Again, very dangerous storm, very dangerous situation there, moving basically going toward 119 now. He was mentioning Varilla. If you know Varilla Curve, that is a big area out there on the Pineville Road between Harlan and Pineville that a lot of people travel. There you go. That's That's exactly right. He's pointing it out there for you. That's Varilla Curve, and again, that is a very, this time of the day, probably a very, very heavily traveled road. So again, if you're in a car and you're on 119 there, pull off. Try to find a spot to get into, a shelter there, a house or something like that, because you don't want to be on that road right now.
Okay, so again, there's 119, Varilla Curve. Here's our circulation. That'll be crossing over 119 within the next few minutes. That next scan should come in kind of any second now. I'm going to pan to the east. Oh, I have the draw tool on. We're going to pan to the east here and kind of show you who's next. Now that we've gotten this past downtown Pineville, here's who's next. We've talked about Varilla, TJ, Callaway. This is going to go to your south. But TJ, it's kind of coming into your area. Oaks as well. If you're in Oaks, I would say go ahead and go to that safe spot, because this is kind of heading in your direction as it continues to push off to the east. I'm going to do one more thing just to kind of see if we've seen anything potentially on the ground, and that is our correlation coefficient product. I don't really see anything that would jump out to me that something has touched down and produced damage, but it's something I'm going to watch just to the west of US 119, west of Varilla in northern parts of Bell County. And this is not the only storm we're dealing with around the mountains right now. In fact, we'll go back to the radar and we'll go back to the home view, and I'll show you we have several severe thunderstorms around the mountains right now into portions of Owsley County, pushing into Lee and Estill counties. 60-mile-per-hour winds possible here with some quarter-size hail possible. Another storm into portions of Lee County, Virginia. That has the possibility of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail, but it's the storm across northern parts of Bell County that has our utmost attention right now, in that we do have this tornado warning for the northern parts of Bell and the western parts of Harlan County at this hour. It does not, at this point, include downtown Harlan. You are not included in this. Alva is not included in the warning right now, but it's kind of heading in that direction as this continues to cross US 119. I'll put the velocity scope on it. That way we can look at that again, and you can see right just now crossing your Varilla Curve is where that rotation is the greatest. Almost looks like another little area of rotation just to the north of the highway as well. But that's kind of displaced away from where you would expect it. So let's just tighten in on that real quick, just so we know what we're dealing with in terms of that velocity scope. And I'm going to move that over. And we will move that over just so we get the good vantage point.
While you're moving that, Pineville, you are in the clear from this tornado warning. They just took you out of it, the city of Pineville.
So we've got that latest update, and I'll query that just so we know who's in and who's out at this time. And you can see this warning still does include about 1,900 people in Bell and Harlan counties. We're watching this rotation just to the west of Varilla. It's moving on top of Varilla. If you're in Varilla, you're running out of time, go ahead and get in that safe spot immediately. Downstairs, under something sturdy. If you've got a bike helmet, an old work helmet, mining helmet, anything, go ahead and put that on. That'll protect you if we do have a tornado on the ground and we're seeing any flying debris with that. In fact, let me check on that as we push forward. There's that new severe thunderstorm warning from a little bit earlier as well, but I'm going to pan back over and we'll talk about the storm into portions of Bell County. And you can see where our concern is. We've got that hook shape in that storm. What that is we have what's called a mesocyclone. That is rotation in the thunderstorm that is wrapping rain and hail around it. That's why we call that a hook echo, and why it's so important that we point that out on radar, because that is where the greatest potential for a tornado will be, into the now northeastern parts of Bell County and into western parts of Harlan County. The tornadic portion of the storm looks to go south of TJ, but likely you're getting hit with some large hail, at least some small hail right now, as that continues to push off to the east and the southeast. Next in line for that will be places like Tuggleville over the next 15 to 20 minutes. And this warning goes again, Brandon, until 5:30?
Yes, sir, till 5:30.
Okay.
So again, city of Pineville, you are out of the tornado warning, so you are clear from this storm. Again, communities near the Bell-Harlan County line, you're in line next. South Wallens over in the distance there, not quite in the polygon. Harlan not quite in the polygon, but we'll see if they decide to extend this warning past 5:30 there. It's crossing US 119. If you're basically between the Harlan and Bell County lines, all the way back over just outside of Pineville there, you are in the path of this storm. So pull off the road, find somewhere safe to get. If you want to take the other computer real fast, we have our tornado safety tips up there, and we can kind of give you those real quick so you can kind of see that. But of course, just to summarize those, you want to go to the lowest level, preferably a basement, get into a closet, hall, or bathroom away from windows. Again, go away from as much as you can, put as much between you and the outside as possible. Avoid large open areas like gyms, and again, abandoned vehicles. Abandon those mobile homes. They're not built for winds like this, and find a nearby reinforced building. If you can't get anywhere into a building, lay in a ditch. Lay flat in the ditch, or just lay flat, just to kind of put as much between you and the tornado, the possible tornado, as possible. We do not have a confirmed tornado with this cell right now, Evan.
That's right, but it is still giving us that concern, and that's the good news. We do not have anything confirmed on the ground right now, or anything in terms of any damage. But this storm structure, the rotation in this thunderstorm, giving us pause, excuse me, that there could be a tornado possible in this storm. I'll look at we'll just go to velocity and just look at it from that angle. And the good news I'm seeing here, Brandon, I'll see if you agree, is that we've gotten that to broaden out a little bit.
Yes.
As that's pushing across the highway. But still, you don't want to let your guard down if you're in TJ, Oaks, Tuggleville, Cubbage, as this pushes to the east over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. So I'll go back to the radar so you can kind of see where the warning is, exactly what we're looking at. And you can see that here. Everywhere in this red polygon is under the tornado warning, and that includes northern parts of Bell County. This is now east of Pineville. Pineville, you are all clear from this storm. This does not include downtown Middlesboro. It's well to your north. So if you're joining us from Middlesboro or even southern Bell County, this is not a concern for you. This is to your north and your north and east across portions of northeastern Bell and into the western parts of Harlan County. And that is where this is going to continue to push off to the east at, what was the speed on that, Brandon? I can throw a track on here real quick.
30 miles per hour. We might have to back out a little bit, though, to be able to get out that far.
Let's see if we can't. Well, we'll go back to the home view and then zoom in from there. So we can track this thunderstorm as it continues to push to the east at 30 miles per hour across Bell and Harlan counties. Elsewhere around the coverage area, of course, we're still dealing with severe weather in the Kentucky River Valley, potential for damaging winds and heavy rain, and some large hail moving toward places like Beattyville, just to the north of Booneville right now, and just to the east of Irvin. But our main concern continues to be the potential for a tornado into portions of Bell and Harlan counties this evening. You can see the shape on this. It's got that little bit of a hook, that little appendage there, and that's what's giving us concern for the possibility of a tornado. So we'll track that off to the east with a little bit of a southeast component at about 30 miles per hour. So if this stays on the track that it's on, we'll not only be pushing through Harlan County, but into Lee County, Virginia as well. Oaks here within the next about 40 seconds. Alva by 5:33, Martins Fork by 5:44, the Hagen community by 5:49, Carroll Mill by 5:52, Hubbard Springs 5:56, Hockett by 6 o'clock, Oconeta by 6:05, Jonesville across the border there by 6:08, and into Pennington Gap by 6:17 should this storm hold together, Brandon. And I'm also noticing this storm just to the east of it that's warned across Lee County has a little bit of a shape to it as well that we want to keep an eye on as well as that pushes to the east. But we'll zoom back in just to make sure that couplet continues to weaken a little bit as it pushes through northern parts or northeastern parts of Bell County and into Harlan County. So you see the shape here. There's our little appendage. This is where some of the air would be flowing into the storm just south of TJ. And the bulk of this storm pushing to your east, but it's still something that we need to watch very, very closely. And do we just get is that a new warning?
No, it was a cancellation of a warning up north.
We've had a lot of warnings today.
Actually, we did just get a new warning. It just came in there as a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, 60-mile-an-hour winds possible, and some 1-inch hail. And that is for Bell, Harlan, Leslie, and Letcher until 5:45.
Okay, so that will be for this kind of complex that's pushing through. But you notice what we've just noticed on this last scan, right on top of Oaks.
Yep.
Right here is where we want to be very careful when it comes to the possibility of some rotation. But the good news is I'm not seeing that strengthening up a whole lot from where we were looking at it earlier, Brandon.
Throw correlation coefficient on there just a second, just to make sure that we're not missing anything on that, because that is a kind of a well-defined hook. Not really that I can tell.
I'm not seeing anything that would jump out to me.
Exactly. It's not anything that stands completely out, but I'm just curious. That rotation is broad there, so I think that's a good sign. But you still could see straight line wind damage, which is basically just as bad as a tornado in situations like that. And I'd say there's some pretty stout winds, and that storm very electrical. Lots of lightning strikes in that one.
Indeed, and we can also talk about how lightning strikes, seeing those lightning strikes indicating that thunderstorm not only is in an environment with plenty to work with in terms of fuel and wind energy, but also the potential for strengthening over the next little bit because it's got so much fuel. We're getting that wind out of the south and west. You've felt it today. It's really warm and muggy outside, and that is what is potentially, or what it is, as a matter of fact, fueling these thunderstorms. So once again, we'll pop the velocity scope on there and you can see what we're dealing with in terms of that rotation and why we're so concerned about this little appendage in northeastern parts of Bell County. So let me push that, scoot that. Oh, we've gotten a velocity update. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go to the velocity product and see what we've got. So pushing to the east, this has really lost definition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks
and I tell you what, it's probably because we're looking from Jackson. So let me switch this over, and if I move it enough, we'll switch over to the Morristown radar. Actually, I think this is the Morristown radar.
Yeah, it's not. Try to go north a little bit, see if Jackson will pick up any.
Okay, so I think we're closer to Morristown anyway. It's not going to within that view. So that's at least the good news, that we're not seeing as much low-level rotation as we were just a few minutes ago with that storm. But the shape of it is any indication that we are dealing with the potential for a tornado, and that really has broadened out a little bit as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As that's about to cross the border here into portions of western Harlan County.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing, Harlan County. At Martins Fork Lake, which is Martins Fork he was talking about, probably getting closer to the warm season. A lot of folks probably out there right now, maybe taking in the lake. There's a beach out there. There may be some folks at. Just make sure that you have time to get into shelter. That's going to be reaching you all here in just a few minutes. So get inside. Make sure you're not out there close. There's a lot of lightning. Hopefully you're already inside, because water and, of course, electricity don't mix. Just keep that in mind. Also, thankfully, the storm is starting to die down just a little bit. Still has a warning on it for another about 7 minutes there, maybe closer to 8 minutes at this point. But again, we're going to continue to see this. Now, I want to add something with that new severe thunderstorm warning, which has that tornado possible tag on it. Pineville is back into that warning, but that's one that's kind of coming back from the other side there, it looks like, because they've pushed that into parts of kind of that section of Bell County that includes Pineville.
Right. And I'm going to recenter this because we've got the tornado warned storm that's lost a little bit of its definition, and I'm wondering if this storm may not be kind of cutting that off a little bit.
Possibly. As that pushes off to the north and east. This is a very strong storm as well on the Harlan-Lee County line. Basically, here's Harlan County, Kentucky. Here's Lee County, Virginia, and that is a very strong storm as it moves basically right along the state line up toward, like Brandon was saying, Martins Fork Lake at this point. And here's our tornado warned storm as that will continue to push into western parts of Harlan County over the next 15 minutes or so. We have about 6 minutes and 15 seconds left on this warning as that pushes out of Bell County and into Harlan County over the next little bit. I'm going to scoot that back over just a little bit. So folks, on the back side of that, TJ, I'm going to go ahead and give you folks the all clear now. That storm is pushed to your east. Jensen, Ponza, this is out of your region over the next little bit. All right, so basically we're right there on the Bell-Harlan County line at this point. Walton's and South Walton's not in the polygon. US 119 up that way. If you're out of Bell County into Harlan County, you're not in the polygon. And we're just trying to see right now if we're going to continue to see this warning go past 5:30. No indication of that so far. Some new severe thunderstorm warnings, though. Evan, if you want to broaden out to the regional view right quick.
Right. We've got, that's going to be the main show as we run through the daytime hours and into the evening, really, is not so much the potential for tornadoes, though any storm that kind of gets hooked to one of these boundaries can get just enough rotation. But we've been dealing with several severe thunderstorm warnings, basically from one end of the area to the other. So let's kind of just move through these very quickly while we watch and keep a very close eye on that storm in portions of Harlan County. We've got severe thunderstorms right now into portions of Estill County, east of Irvin. That is going to be, let's put a, just double check that. That is going to be for portions of Estill, Lee, Menifee, Powell, and Wolfe counties. That runs until 5:45, so another 20 minutes on that one. Another storm just to the south of downtown Beattyville. This has a tornado possible tag on it for Breathitt, Lee, Owsley, and now just Breathitt, Lee, and Owsley.
Yeah.
So that pushes to the east at 60 miles per hour. So they took Jackson County out of that, and that runs for another 5 minutes or so. As we scoot to the south, let me pan this down. We'll scoot to the south, and you can see we've got another one. This moving through eastern parts of Clay County. This warning takes in portions of southern Owsley, eastern Clay. Does not include Manchester. It's to your east. This includes northern and northwestern Perry County. So Buckhorn, you're in this warning. Southeastern parts of Breathitt County and also portions of Leslie County as this runs over the next little bit. And the timing on this warning is until 5:45, so 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with that. That is coming down Highway 80 just north of the highway. Big Creek, you've got the possibility for some 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm as well. And we'll keep going on, panning down as we get back to our tornado-warned storm, which looking at it from the Jackson radar, a little stronger. But now we've got kind of 3 cells in this area that we're watching. This tornado warning has about 3 minutes left on it as this pushes into far western Harlan County. Let's check on the rotation just to make sure we're not missing anything. So we'll zoom in on that. And this warning again going until 5:30 as that pushes to the east. This is still a severe thunderstorm. You still have the possibility for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and at least nickel-size hail, if not larger, as this storm continues to push on through. So we'll go to the scope and look at that here over the next little bit and broaden that out. And the rotation, Brandon, it's looking very broad. I would be surprised if this warning lasts.
Yeah, no, I think as it crosses the border there, if the rotation doesn't try to tighten it back up like it did last night, some of those tornado warnings over the Corbin area, I do believe they'll let that expire. And most of the cell is completely out of the polygon. It's crossing into Harlan County from the Bell County line there, and we're just going to continue to see that move on. But as Evan has said, it's still a very strong cluster of storms. Not only this storm, but the storms over near the state line there with Kentucky and Virginia, Harlan County and Lee County, and you see a possibility there of those storms that are going basically throughout Harlan County to continue to pack a punch there. And a couple of these, some to the north, and then that one there that's going to 5:45 still has a tornado possible tag on that, even though it's a severe thunderstorm warning. And that tornado warning was just allowed to expire there for Bell and Harlan. Evan.
Okay, so that is the good sign. This warning that's in effect for Bell and Harlan County, this will be allowed to expire in the next couple of minutes. However, I'll point this out. We'll kind of reset here and get ready for Mountain News at 5:30. But what we're looking at still is a couple of strong storms. And I'll tell you what, Brandon, that is a very interesting look on that storm in Lee County right now. In Lee County, Virginia, while we are seeing some severe weather in Lee County, Kentucky, this storm in Lee County, Virginia has my attention. This is not tornado warned, but it does have some rotation with it. And this also has the possibility, as we double check with this, we do have the possibility to see, that's 25E right there, hang on. We have the one warning, Bell, Harlan, and Leslie and Letcher counties until 5:45. And then we have this southern warning that includes Lee County, Virginia, and Scott County, Virginia, which is just outside the area. That runs until, well, the next couple of minutes, and we've updated that warning. So just something to keep our eyes on as we continue to work through the next little bit, as we continue to watch the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms across the mountains. We still have several severe thunderstorm warnings, but I think we're going to be able to let that tornado warning go as we head closer to the 5:30 hour. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get set up here for Mountain News at 5:30, and we'll kind of get there and toss it back over to Steve here in just a few seconds when Mountain News at 5:30 begins. We are still watching the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms throughout the mountains, but our tornado warning looks to expire at about 5:20 or so. So I'll tell you what, once that polygon pops off, we'll go back over to Steve, get you caught up on the news of the day as Mountain News at 5:30 starts in just a few seconds.